Welcome back to Mock Draft Madness, day 39 of doing a mock draft every single day until the NFL draft. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft, as well as trade suggestions. I'm going to do something a little bit different starting today and going forward. I will also be making a pick for the Carolina Panthers at pick 33. I'm still going to do the 2-round mocks once a week, and then we'll do the final 3-round mock the night before the draft that will be uploaded day of. But for now, for the single round mocks, I'm just going to pick at pick 33 for the Carolina Panthers. So let's get right into it. I don't have anything that I'm necessarily starting or any, I should say, stipulations for this draft. I'm just going to kind of roll and see where I go. So I got Caleb Williams going to the Bears. And, I've been back and forth on Drake May and Jaden Daniels to the Commanders. I think there is a kind of interesting world here where I don't know. Do I want to completely fuck the mock and go J.J. McCarthy at 2? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think in any reality he's going to be the second quarterback off the board. And those rumors are kind of a week old, so let's not do that. I'm going to go Drake May, though, at 2 to the Commanders. And then we are going to have Jaden Daniels at 3 to the Patriots. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. And number 5, this is where it gets interesting because do we trade back with the Vikings? I don't think so. And what I'm going to do is I am going to I think I'm just going to go wide receiver here. So I'm going to go Malik Neighbors here and then Rome Odunze to the Giants. So I think this is potentially what can happen. And then what I'm going to do is Joe Alt to the Titans. So the reason I did this is because we have to look at the option that, or the scenario where 3 quarterbacks go off the board and then 3 wide receivers and then obviously a tackle, okay? Now, I think the Titans are probably going to stay put. I think they could trade back if another team wants to trade up for a quarterback. But in my opinion, the Atlanta Falcons are more poised to be the team that trades back because they're probably targeting a defensive player. Where if you're the Titans and you can get a player like Joe Alt at 7, you have to take him. And if the Chargers don't trade back with the Vikings, I think there's a world where, as we're getting closer to the draft, I think I'm leaning more towards the fact that the Giants might not take a quarterback at 6, and I think they're going to go I would say the Giants may take a quarterback at 6 if J.J. McCarthy's there or if one of the top 3 is there, which I doubt they will be, but, So, and then if you go 3 wide receivers, because all these teams need wide receivers, it leaves the best tackle on the board for Tennessee. So now we're sitting here with the Atlanta Falcons, which I think is the prime trade back spot. Now, obviously, the Vikings are in prime position to trade up, and they don't necessarily have to give up all that much. So, they're moving up 3 spots. They're also competing with Denver. And I guess the issue is that they don't have a second-round pick next year. They don't have, maybe what we can do is we can give them 11 and 23, and then we take 43, and then we swap 8. I think that would probably be the thing to get the trade done. So we're going to force that trade through. Minnesota Vikings are on the clock. They're going to take J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings just have more capital than the Broncos to move up. The Raiders, yes, they have more than the Broncos, but you're also moving farther back. And I think the reality is the Vikings control how much it's going to cost to move up. Chicago Bears are on the clock. Unfortunately for them, kind of the worst situation to be in. I think the reality is they could go Brock Bowers. I also think they could trade back. The issue with trading back is you don't necessarily know who is going to want to move up. I think, a prime team that could trade up is probably the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to offer this trade here. I'm not going to force it through. I'm going to try to do a little bit more offers. So I'm going to have the Colts move up, and they're going to take Brock Bowers. So now the Bears are able to recoup a second-round pick. And, they can go get a receiver there. They can get an edge in the first round. And then, it kind of solves multiple issues for them. You're not getting a top-tier guy. I don't know if the Bears would take Brock Bowers necessarily if he's there available for them. I think the Colts actually are looking to move up to get him, just from some reports I saw. And the Jets are on the clock now. Without any of the weapons on the board, I also think this is a prime trade back spot. But Fautanu just makes a lot of sense for them because their team, and I heard this on the Athletic Football Show today, and it just made a lot of sense. Like last year, their O-line just took turns getting hurt. And Fautanu is a 5-position player. So he's someone that could play any position on the O-line. And while I've been using this argument, and the more and more I think about it, I think I'm kind of leaning the other way now. I've said you have 2 years, go get the weapon and try to compete how you can. But the reality is there's always going to be injuries on the O-line. I've known this, but the more and more I thought about it, yes, you could have an injury on the O-line, you have the backup going in. But with this situation, you have a top 6, and it's what if 2 guys get hurt? Then you're really in a bad spot. So I think Fautanu could fight for a starting guard spot and even be a 5-position backup. Now we have the Atlanta Falcons at 11, and they're on the board, and they are going to take, let me look. I think they're in a 3-4, and if it is a 3-4, I would, I don't know why I'm looking at it this way. Let's look at division. If they're in a 3, I'm trying to think. I think they're in a 3-4. Yeah, they're in a 3-4. So I actually like Dallas Turner in a 3-4 a lot more than a 4-3. So I'm going to give them Dallas Turner. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos. I think they need quite a bit here. I think they could go Jackson Powers Johnson. I think they do need some help on their defensive line as well. They honestly just need good players. So while I think, moving back might not be a bad idea, I think also because you don't have a second round pick, you're going to be competing with the Raiders who do. And because, they can take their guy at 13, it's almost like, do you want to be, against a team like the Giants who can take, a quarterback at 47, and then you're left with nobody. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have the Denver Broncos take Michael Penix Jr. at 12. At number 13, I have the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock. I think they can go a lot of ways. I think corner is definitely a need. I think, with a guy like Talisa Fuaga on the board, though, it's kind of hard to pass up. So that's where I'm going to go. At number 14, we have the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to give them Olu Fashanu. I think they need to solidify that offensive line. And while I think they could go a ton of different ways here, I think adding a guy at the caliber of Olu Fashanu to play left tackle to kind of fill in for a guy in Trevor Penning who hasn't played his best is a good use of pick 14. At number 15, I love being able to pair Montez Sweat with a guy like Jared Verse. In the Bears defense that they run with their 4-3, Verse's motor is high. I like his strength. I like his power. I like his speed. And putting him on the opposite side of Montez Sweat while allowing your young interior outside of Andrew Billings. Like, I love Andrew Billings. I think he's a good player, but allowing Zach Pickens and Gervon Dexter to develop next to guys like Sweat, obviously Verse is going to Sweat and Verse, even though Verse is going to be developing as well. I think it just makes their D line so much better. And the fact that the Bears have, where are we here? 46. They can go get one of the top, like, kind of second round receivers. And if they want to trade up a little bit more, they can. So at number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks on the clock. While I think, it is a good idea to kind of add their interior, I don't love it at 16. If Fautanu was here, that'd be a little bit of a different story. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to go with what you need. I like the idea of Graham Barton ahead of Jackson Powers-Johnson because he does give you that 5-position versatility, and these are the 2 top interior guys. I also think it is possible that we have a team that wants to trade up for one of these top corners here. Obviously, the fact of the matter is that the Jaguars need a corner. The Rams could use a corner. The Steelers could. I don't see them using it on them. So what I'm going to do actually is I am going to have the Eagles trade up. I'm going to give them 53, and they'll give me 16 and 81. Well, I don't know if... I don't know. I don't know if that... I wonder what would get it done. So if we got 16, okay, and we gave them 53. So it's coming from the Seahawks side. It says they're not interested in trading picks. So that's why, I like to do the sim thing, but I also wish it would just allow you to do like a trade chart instead of this team doesn't want to trade up. I think it's valid that this team might want to trade up and get the best corner on the board. So I'm going to give them 53 and they're going to give me 81, and we're going to force this trade through. Oh, it says this trade would most likely happen. I don't know. Let's force this trade through. Let's just offer it. That's weird. I wasn't doing that before, unless I was clicking the wrong buttons. And I'm gonna have them selecting Terrion Arnold, the best, in my opinion, CB1 in this draft. You get youth and incredible potential in your cornerback room. 17 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team who I honestly really think needs a corner, goes Quinyon Mitchell. And here's the thing. I think that's where the corners start to go. So getting to 16 while allowing the Seattle Seahawks to move back and select, one of the top interior players is a great move for the Philadelphia Eagles. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals on the clock. Both of the defensive interior players are here. They do need tackle. The Bengals do like to draft for the future. I think Byron Murphy and Jerzon Newton are more of a play for now. I also could see them taking one of the tackles here to replace Trent Brown if he doesn't stay after this year. But I don't know. I know they signed Sheldon Rankins, but I think with a guy like Byron Murphy on the board, it becomes kind of hard to pass up. At number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams on the clock. I think they do need to supplement their defense, so I'm going to give them Nate Wiggins. They need youth and talent in that corner room, and I think Nate Wiggins could be that super athletic, a little bit light, but does have the size to be a long, dominant corner. I just want to see him put on weight. I don't want to keep putting that Emmanuel Forbes argument on him. Obviously, that was not good to see, but at the end of the day, it's you got to take sometimes you got to take the chance on the guy. At number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock. I think if J.C. Latham is there, that is a good pick for them. While I do like Mims, I think he is a little bit more developmental than J.C. Latham. And the issue is if you take J.C. Latham, I think he can also play guard if needed, but Amarius Mims might need some time to develop, which they've showed they've been okay with that. With if you watch the Broderick Jones tape, and maybe you do go Amarius Mims and you have the developmental project who could potentially be one of the better tackles in the league if he pans out. At number 21, we have the Miami Dolphins. So here's my thing. You have Teron Armstead, you have Austin Jackson. You need help on the interior. I think J.C. Latham is a guy who can play. He's a guy who can play guard, right guard. He can play tackle, and I know Teron Armstead is a left tackle. I just think he would be a good addition for them. I also like the idea of a Jackson Powers-Johnson because they have that interior issue. So I'm going to go Jackson Powers-Johnson here and then Graham Barton to the Seattle Seahawks. 5-position versatility, the Seahawks need it. At 23 to the Atlanta Falcons, who earlier took Dallas Turner. So with Cooper DeJean on the board, being able to supplement their cornerback room, I think would be great. But I also think getting a guy, if you're able to get Jerzon Newton and Dallas Turner in this draft, you win the first round. Like, my thing is that defensive line just needs youth and talent. They weren't horrible last year, but I don't know if you're getting Calais Campbell back. And if you're able to get a guy like Newton and Turner on the same line, that is crazy. 24 to the Dallas Cowboys. While I think, they could use, they need a tackle. They need cornerback help. I don't know if I necessarily love the... Okay, so here's what I am going to do. So I'm going to trade back with the Buffalo Bills. And we're going to give them pick 128. We'll give them 174. I don't know how much it would cost to move up. It's only 4 spots. So maybe they give us 128, we give them 174. I don't know. I feel like they need to give more, right? Maybe let's not have the Bills trade up here. Okay, hold on. I think maybe we can do this then. $93. 6 spots. It's kind of steep. If we gave them 62 and they give us 87, I don't know. I don't know the trade value here, guys. I just think if the Ravens are able to move up and get a guy like a Brian Thomas Jr., that could be really, really scary. I also think the idea of maybe the Chiefs going and getting a guy, literally any of these teams being able to go and get so we give them 32, we give them 64. Oh wait, no, that's not right. We give them 95. I feel like that'll happen. We're going to force that trade. We're going to offer the trade. Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock. They're going to take Brian Thomas Jr. Pair him with Hollywood Brown. Hopefully Rashee Rice if he comes back. You have a bright, bright future. 25, Cooper DeJean to the... What the hell? Green Bay Packers. I was tweaking out for a second. 26 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Latu is on the board. I think they would go with Latu here. It'd be kind of hard to pass up. But I have an idea that I'm going to try to execute. While I do think that the Lions do need a corner really bad, the idea of being able to pair, if I give them 73 and they give me 89, it's only 2 picks. So let's do this. So that they're not interested in trading for this pick. Okay. Okay, I'm going to give them 73, and they're going to give me 89. So we're going to force that trade through. Lions are on the clock. They're going to take Latu to pair with Aiden Hutchinson, and suddenly your line becomes very, very, very scary. 27 to the Arizona Cardinals. We have Marvin Harrison Jr., and I think what you can do here is take a guy like a J.C. Latham who can play guard for you, and then he can take over for Jonah Williams once he is gone. Buffalo Bills are on the clock. Adonai Mitchell, best receiver available. They need to take him. 29 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think, they could go a lot of ways. I think Zach Frazier could be a good option for them to replace Ryan Jensen after he retired. They do need some help on the interior, a little bit of their O-line. Robert Hainsey, he was a 3rd-round pick for them in 21. They need a corner. We can give them a guy like Kool-Aid McKinstry. 30 to the Baltimore Ravens. I like the idea of possibly going with a Jordan Morgan type right here. I also like the idea of going wide receiver. I don't necessarily love the corners available on the board. They do need help there. So you have like a decent amount of options. I don't love them all, but I think corner, based on what you can get here to what you're going to get in the second round, is a little bit more dire than the other positions. I do think Jordan Morgan could fit well for them, but I'm going to give them a guy that I like a lot in Kamari Lassiter. At number 31, we have the San Francisco 49ers. They do need O-line. They also need cornerback. I think we could also go with a guy with like a Zach Frazier. But right now, I'm going to give them a TJ Tampa-like corner. Big, physical guy who is not afraid to lay the hit on somebody. 32 to the Dallas Cowboys. I think Guyton could be a play here just because they love to take home run swings, and the last pick of the first round be a good spot for him. I think the Carolina Panthers are in a very good spot with their 2 second-round picks. In my opinion, you have a lot of receivers here, and I don't necessarily think all these picks are going to be receivers. So you have a couple good options here. So what I would probably opt for at pick 33 is going with a guy like a Chop Robinson. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been You Don't Know Ball Day 39 of Mock Draft Madness. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft, as well as trade scenarios you want me to try. I'll be back tomorrow. I got a mock draft reaction dropping tomorrow. I'm going to try to keep doing those as we get closer to the draft. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for watching.